Hey y'all, this is Early Career Academic. In this video, I'm going to take you along with me while I make progress on my academic writing project. I was going to do a different video for today, but I really need some motivation because I am up against a deadline and I've been doing a lot of research, gathering a lot of notes, but now it's time to put pen to paper, so to speak. In this video, I grabbed my favorite snack at the moment, which are these delicious orange cranberry scones and my Alani peach energy drink, and I just start drafting. Part of the project I'm working on involves me telling stories, and this is a new type of writing for me because typically I am analyzing data and bringing in secondary research, which I still have to do, but I needed to get these core bits of the story out because sort of the major base of the paper is my own experience. And so finding a way to get through those experiences that I wanted to share was an interesting exercise. So right now I'm just free writing. Whenever I come across a word I can't think of, which is happening a lot in this video because it's at the end of the day, I just put a big X or I use the highlighter tool and I just keep going. That's probably my big piece of advice for any of you working on writing projects watching this video is sometimes you just need to write through it. It can be really difficult if you get hung up on trying to find the perfect word or the perfect way to say something. Certainly if you are writing for academia or any kind of writing that involves secondary sources, it can be more useful for you to say what you want to say, put, big parentheses or highlight citation here, come back and put the citations in later, because I think we can get really hung up on what other people have to say and lose the thread of what we're trying to say. So I recommend this even to my own undergraduate students to write the first draft, especially just write through the entire thing. Put notes to yourself, big X's, use highlighter, whatever you need to push through those bits that you just can't figure out right now in this moment. It is so much easier to go back through a full draft and fix it than it is to struggle and agonize over producing that first draft in the first place. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm just so slowly going through. And to be fair, I did create a rough list of stories I wanted to tell before this video. So I'm going through that essentially outline, if you will, and writing out the stories. Even so, this took me the better part of 2.5 hours. My phone stopped recording after a certain amount of time, but I did sit down for a really good chunk of time and get through all of my stories. Now, I think by the time I end this video, I still have 1 or 2 stories that aren't written, but they're shorter stories, and I do like to leave one writing session with a very easy project to begin the next writing session. That's one of the writing tips I picked up, I think actually from reading a book about writers and their habits. I want to say that was a tip that Hemingway gave to other writers. I can't remember, but it is really handy to open the document again the next time you have the opportunity to write, and right there in your face it says write this section or address this thing, and you don't have to start that process of editing or integrating sources or whatever is holding you up. It's just a good way to begin a writing session so that once you kind of get going, it's much easier to then pivot to the harder tasks that you were resisting. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video someday about all the ways I get past myself to make myself write when I don't want to, because this has been honed over 15 years of academic writing. I know all my own tricks, and I have methods for getting around my own procrastination and resistance. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I will make a video on that. But this actually was a very cathartic experience. I waffled throughout this process. What took the longest actually was trying to decide how much detail, how personal, what are the points I really wanted to highlight. And even after I thought a lot about it as I was writing, I still had a lot of thoughts where I thought I'm probably going to nix this in the final draft, and that's okay. That's part of the writing process. I create draft versions, so that I always have all my writing saved in some version or another. But that doesn't mean that I am wedded to the first version in any way. I know I've done this so many times that I know we do end up killing our little writing darlings, and some of them aren't even darling, and we're okay with letting them go. But that was one of the things that took the longest, was deciding like how much detail, which stories, all of this. But it was a very cathartic exercise. I rarely get to write in this way in academia, and I still don't know if this is going to pass muster, if you will. But this special collection that I'm contributing to, or that I hope to contribute to, did encourage this kind of piece. And so it's not like I didn't have a basis for starting a project of this nature. And I've had some really good ideas about how to kind of create a dialogue around this chapter I'm writing that exists beyond its publication. We'll see if I pull it off, but I'm actually really excited about like adding an interactive component to this chapter that will continue the conversation I'm trying to start, or not necessarily start, it's been started, but the conversation I'm trying to like enliven past the point of publication. So I'm really excited about this project, and I hope I can pull it off, especially since I only have one more week before it's due. So I am trying to be really intentional about how I spend my time and to prioritize this. I know this is just a season. There's a lot of stuff that can wait. I have pushed off as much as I possibly can push off for now, in the hopes that I can pull this together. As much as I enjoyed this part of the project, the storytelling part, I actually am very much looking forward to going through my secondary research notes and pulling those into this draft, because I've had some like fun eureka moments while I'm folding laundry and taking care of the kids, where I kind of see how it all connects. But I do take a lot of notes, and so I need to go through them and decide like what am I going to pull out of these and put in my paper. But I have like a theoretical grounding that's going to work really well, and there's so many like nuggets of wisdom that I was able to discover in the sources that I looked at. And you may be asking yourself, like, how many sources? Honestly, I don't know. I do have a bibliography which has some sources on it that I didn't get to, and it doesn't include some sources I did get to, but I do save all of the things I'm planning on putting in the paper as PDFs in a folder. And I have a specific like file naming convention that I follow for myself. And then I jot my notes on the index cards that I showed you in my last academic vlog. What I discovered over 15 years of doing this kind of work is that I am less concerned with keeping these like writing notes from secondary sources for like in perpetuity. The way I used to do it is type them all into a Word doc, but that was just really hard for my process. So if you guys are interested, I can go more into that. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll create another video in which I discuss my process for using notes, not saving notes, and all of that. And here is my back pages, my year-end pixels, and this is that project planner that I told you about, and the progress that I'm making on the project. Thanks so much for watching.